All right, so the shadow of the sphere, the darkest point is going to be just to the right of the sphere, according to our light source, which is on the left. So darkest point of the shadow for the sphere is at the center of this ellipse, which is right here. It's right under the sphere, and right there will be the darkest spot of the entire shadow, and it will fade to nothing by the time it hits that line there. So I'm actually going to lighten up my shadow line using my kneaded eraser. And I'm going to use my variety of pencils, starting off with the darker ones. Here's our 6B, and I'm just going to go right to the point where it touches the table, right underneath it, and move out to the right as the darkest point of the entire shadow. And then I'm going to start to fade immediately. I'm just using pressure sensitivity with the 6B there, but I can now switch to my regular pencil and start to overlap and use cross-hatching to start to soften up that shadow. Definitely don't want any lines in the shadow, so try to use your cross-hatching, rotate the paper, all the methods that you've already learned for shading will apply here as you start to do some gradations in the shadow. And I'm just pressing very lightly, barely holding onto the pencil, and just allowing it to graze the page. A little bit of cross-hatching there to soften that up. And I'll switch over to my 4H pencil now and use the lighter pencils to finish this up. Really just barely touching the paper to fill up to the edge that I created earlier. Again, no finger smearing. My fingers are still clean. If you're finding that it's hard to get the transitions here, if you find that you have almost like bands of shading, try to use a little bit less, more pressure sensitivity. Like kind of rely on the fact that the harder you press, the darker that line's going to go. So don't press too hard, and you go a little slower and try to build your value instead of trying to establish it right off the bat. I think once you do that, you might find that it's a little easier to transition. Get rid of that sort of bands of shading look. All right, I'm pretty happy with that. And there you go, ladies and gentlemen. That is the sphere for your basic form.